Imagine walking through a crowded room. You see couples everywhere. Some are laughing, their bodies turned fully toward one another, as if an invisible thread pulls them together. Others sit in silence, the space between them feeling less like a gap and more like a canyon. You watch them, and you think you understand what you are seeing. You think you see love. You think you see loyalty. But you are wrong. You are only seeing the surface, the final frame of a movie you haven't watched from the beginning. You are seeing the result, but you have no idea what caused it. For decades, men have been sold a story. It is a simple story, easy to understand and comforting in its logic. The story goes like this. A woman's loyalty is a transaction. If you work hard, if you provide, if you fix the sink, if you remember the anniversary, if you are a good man who does good things, you will receive her loyalty in return. Effort in, loyalty out. It is the emotional equivalent of a vending machine. You put in the coins of your labor, and out pops her devotion. But if you have ever poured every ounce of yourself into a relationship, only to watch it dissolve in your hands, you know this story is a lie. You know the vending machine is broken, and you are left standing there, confused, holding a handful of useless coins, wondering where you went wrong. You didn't go wrong in your effort. You went wrong in your understanding. The truth is far more complex and far more uncomfortable. It requires you to look in a mirror you have been avoiding. It asks you to stop looking at what she does and start looking at what you feel. Because here is the reality that no one tells you. Women are not loyal to effort. They are not loyal to the number of hours you work, the size of the home you provide, or the consistency with which you take out the trash. They are loyal to one specific, elusive, and often misunderstood thing. And until you understand what that thing is, you will continue to pour your effort into a bottomless pit, wondering why it never fills up. Let's step back for a moment. Let's look at the psychology of attraction from a place of raw honesty. A woman's brain is wired differently than a man's when it comes to security. For a man, security often looks like a resource. It is a paycheck, a skill set, a physical ability to protect. It is tangible. You can touch it, count it, measure it. But for a woman, security is an emotional frequency. It is not about what you have in the bank. It is about what she feels in her body when she is next to you. You cannot measure this frequency with a ruler, but she feels it with every fiber of her being. It is the difference between knowing you are safe and hoping you are safe. And hope, my friend, is a terrible foundation for loyalty. This is where the confusion begins. A man thinks, if I build it, she will come. He builds a life, a career, a stable environment. He looks at this structure with pride, believing it to be an unshakable monument to his value. And for a while, she may admire the structure. She may appreciate the walls and the roof, but she does not fall in love with the structure. She falls in love with the architect. And she does not fall in love with the architect because of his blueprints. She falls in love with the way he moves through the world. She falls in love with the unshakable calm in his eyes when chaos erupts. She falls in love with the way he handles a stranger's disrespect without losing his cool. She falls in love with the gravity he possesses, the kind that makes her feel like she is finally orbiting a sun instead of trying to be the sun herself. Effort is what you do, but loyalty is a response to who you are. Think about the most magnetic man you have ever met. He might not be the richest. He might not be the most handsome. But when he walks into a room, something shifts. People quiet down. They pay attention. Women, especially, feel it. They feel it because his presence emits a signal. It is a signal of self-containment. He is not looking for validation. He is not searching the room for someone to complete him. He is already whole. And that wholeness is intoxicating. It is rare. It is the one thing that no amount of effort can fake. Now consider the alternative. Consider the man who tries too hard. He is the one who brings flowers every week, not because he wants to, but because he thinks he has to. He is the one who over-explains his intentions, over-justifies his decisions, over-functions in the relationship until he collapses from exhaustion. He believes that if he can just do enough, she will finally feel secure enough to stay. But here is the brutal psychological truth. His over-functioning actually creates the opposite effect. It creates a quiet, creeping anxiety in her. She looks at him and sees someone who is trying to buy her loyalty with labor. And instinctively, she knows that loyalty bought with labor can be lost to someone with more labor to offer. She feels, on a deep level, that his effort is a mask for his insecurity. And insecurity is the ultimate repellent. You see, loyalty is not a prize you win. It is a byproduct of a state of being. It is the smoke from a fire. You cannot have the smoke without the fire. And the fire is not your effort. The fire is your unwavering emotional core. This brings us to the one thing, the thing that loyalty actually attaches to. It is not love, though love is part of it. It is not respect, though respect is required. It is something far more primal. It is the feeling of being unable to afford to lose you, not financially, emotionally, psychologically. It is the moment a woman looks at a man and realizes that without him, the color drains out of the world, that her life, without his presence, is a song missing its melody. This is not about neediness. This is about value. And value is not determined by how much you do for her. Value is determined by how much you elevate her experience of reality simply by existing within it. Think about the great loves in literature and film. They are not stories about men who did the dishes without being asked. They are stories about men who were forces of nature. Men who had a mission, a purpose, a gravitational pull that was stronger than their desire to please. Women are not drawn to men who orbit them. Women are drawn to men who have their own orbit and invite her to join it. When you are the center of your own universe, you become the center of hers. But the moment you abandon your orbit to enter hers, you lose the very thing that attracted her in the first place. This is the paradox that most men never solve. The more you pursue her, the more you try to earn her loyalty through effort, the more you signal that your value is lower than hers. You are the supplicant. She is the queen. And queens do not feel loyal to servants. They appreciate servants. They tip servants. But they do not build their lives around them. They build their lives around kings, around equals, around men who do not need them, but choose them. But here's what most people don't realize. This dynamic is not a game. It is not about playing hard to get or using manipulation tactics. Those are just effort in disguise, a different kind of vending machine coin. This is about genuinely becoming the version of yourself that you would be loyal to. Because you cannot fake frequency. You cannot pretend to be a sun when you feel like a moon. She will feel it. Her nervous system is a finely tuned instrument designed to detect authenticity. It is her survival mechanism. Millions of years of evolution have taught her to sense whether a man is truly stable or just pretending to be. And when her nervous system detects the truth, her loyalty locks into place. Let's look at a realistic example. Imagine two men. The first man, let's call him David, is what society would call a good provider. He works a stable job, he comes home on time, he helps with the kids, he never forgets a birthday. He is reliable, he is steady. But inside, David is anxious. He constantly worries about losing his job, about losing his wife, about not being good enough. He seeks reassurance. He asks, "Are you happy? Did I do enough today?" He tries so hard to be perfect that his effort becomes a weight. His wife feels it. She feels like she has to manage his emotions on top of everything else. She feels like she is his source of stability, not the other way around. And slowly, without meaning to, she begins to lose respect for him. She doesn't leave, she stays. But her loyalty? Her loyalty is hollow. It is loyalty based on obligation, on habit, on fear of hurting him. It is not the fierce, unbreakable loyalty of a woman who would walk through fire for her man. It is the quiet, dutiful loyalty of a caretaker. And David feels it. He feels the distance. So he tries harder, and the cycle deepens. Now consider the second man, Michael. Michael is not perfect. He forgets things sometimes. He works hard. But he also has a life outside the relationship. He has hobbies, friends, a mission that drives him. When he comes home, he is present, but he is not desperate. When his wife is upset, he listens without panicking. He does not rush to fix her. He holds space for her, and his calmness tells her, without words, that everything is going to be okay. He does not seek her validation because he already validates himself. He is not rude. He is not cold. He is simply solid. And his solidity is like a rock in a stormy sea. His wife looks at him and feels something primal. She feels that if the world ended, she would want to be in his bunker. Not because he has the biggest bunker, but because his presence would make the end of the world feel survivable. That feeling is loyalty. It is not bought. It is generated. Do you see the difference? David's effort is about managing external things. Michael's presence is about managing internal state. David tries to control the environment to make her happy. Michael controls himself, and his self-control makes her feel safe. David offers her a life of comfort. Michael offers her a life of significance. And significance always wins. It always wins because comfort is something you can get from a paycheck. Significance is something you can only get from a person. This is the breakthrough understanding. Loyalty is not a response to comfort. It is a response to significance. When a woman feels that being with you makes her more herself, more alive, more real, she becomes chemically bonded to you. Her brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, not because you are nice, but because she feels seen, safe, and stimulated. She feels that you are the key that unlocks a part of her that no one else can reach. And once that door is open, she will fight to keep it open. She will be loyal not out of duty, but out of desire. So what does this mean for you practically? It means you have to stop focusing on her and start focusing on the man in the mirror. It means you have to ask yourself the hard questions. Are you solid? Can you handle a crisis without crumbling? Can you sit with your own emotions without needing her to soothe them? Do you have a purpose that gets you out of bed in the morning that has nothing to do with her? Are you interesting? Are you growing? Do you have an edge? Because if you are boring to yourself, you will be boring to her. If you are weak internally, all the external effort in the world will look like weakness dressed up in a suit. This is not about being an alpha male in the cartoonish sense. It is not about grunting and lifting weights and ignoring her texts. That is just another form of performance, another type of effort designed to get a reaction. True strength is quiet. It is unbothered. It is the deep, unshakable knowledge that you will be okay, even if she leaves. And that knowledge, paradoxically, is the very thing that makes her never want to leave. Because a man who can survive without her is a man worth surviving with. Women are not looking for a project. They are not looking for a man they need to build. They are looking for a man who is already built. They are looking for a destination, not a construction site. If you present yourself as a construction site, always improving, always working on yourself for her approval, she will feel like a general contractor. And no woman dreams of being a general contractor. She dreams of being an explorer, discovering new worlds with a captain who knows where he is going. The smart, practical takeaway here is brutal in its simplicity. You must become the man you would be if you were alone. You must build a life so full, so engaging, so meaningful, that a relationship becomes an addition to an already complete picture, not the picture itself. You must cultivate your own emotional regulation, your own financial independence, your own physical health, your own intellectual curiosity. You must become a man who is fascinating to himself, because that fascination is magnetic. It radiates. It makes people lean in. It makes her want to be part of your story. And when you slip, when you fail, and you will fail because you are human, when you mess up, you do not crumble. You do not grovel. You acknowledge it, you learn from it, and you move forward without losing your center. That resilience is more attractive than any apology. It is the proof that your solidity is real, not just a mask you wear when things are easy. Look at the couples who have been together for 50 years and still look at each other with fire in their eyes. Do you think it is because he always put the toilet seat down? Do you think it is because she never got bored of his chores? No. It is because he remained a mystery she never fully solved. It is because she remained a challenge he never fully conquered. They grew together, but they also grew individually. They remained two separate suns, orbiting a shared center, rather than one collapsing into the other. Loyalty. True loyalty, the kind that lasts, is not a cage, it is a choice. And a choice only has value if the option to leave exists. If she stays with you because she has no other options, because you have made yourself so necessary to her survival that leaving would be impossible, that is not loyalty, that is captivity. And eventually, captivity breeds resentment. But if she stays with you because every day she wakes up and chooses you, knowing she could leave, knowing she could find someone else, but realizing that no one else makes her feel the way you do, that is loyalty. That is the real thing. So stop counting your efforts. Stop tallying up the things you do for her, waiting for the moment she finally pays you back with the loyalty you think you deserve. That is a transaction, and transactions can be undercut. There is always someone willing to mow the lawn for less, to buy a bigger gift, to work harder. You cannot win a transactional game, but you can make the game irrelevant. You can become the player that changes the rules. You do that by becoming the one thing she cannot replicate, the one thing she cannot buy, the one thing she cannot find in anyone else. A man who is so fully himself, so deeply rooted in his own value, that being near him feels like coming home to a home you never knew you had. A man whose presence is a gift, not an obligation. And when you become that man, you will stop worrying about her loyalty. You will stop analyzing her texts, wondering if she is pulling away. You will stop performing and start living. And in that living, you will find something unexpected. You will find that loyalty comes to you effortlessly, not because you demanded it, but because you no longer needed it. That is the final mystery. The thing you chase the hardest is the thing that runs the fastest. But the thing you become, the thing you embody, that thing stays. It lingers, it echoes. And in the end, her loyalty is not a reflection of her. It is a reflection of you.